I was 17, an orphan, and already felt like I'd overstayed my welcome in the world. The mirror above my sink showed a tall, skinny kid with sunken eyes and shoulders that always slouched forward, like I was trying to fold myself smaller. My hoodie hung loose on me, always did. People said I looked fragile, like I might snap if someone spoke too loudly. They weren't wrong. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears and forces you to hear your own thoughts. The place wasn't really mine. Foster homes never were. This one just happened to last longer than the others because the couple barely talked to me. That was fine. Silence was safer than fake concern. My room was the only place that felt familiar. A cracked TV sat on a dresser held together by screws that didn't match. An old console hummed quietly, paused on a familiar screen, Call of Duty Zombies. Narrated unto 10. Round 1. I didn't even remember turning it on. Zombies had always made sense to me. The rules were simple. Survive. Kill or be killed. No pretending. No smiling when you didn't mean it. Tank Dempsey was my favorite. Not because he was funny, though he was, but because he never hesitated. He didn't overthink. He didn't stop to wonder if his life mattered. He just kept moving forward, gun up, jaw set, fighting until there was nothing left to fight. I envied that. I lay back on my bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint wind outside the window. The thought crept in again, the same one that had been circling me for months. The one that whispered how tired I was, how easy it would be to stop feeling anything at all. I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms. Just one more night, I muttered to no one. The TV flickered. I sat up. The zombies menu glitched, static crawling across the screen, audio warping. Dempsey's voice bled through the speakers, distorted but clear enough to make my heart jump. Come on, kid. You gonna fight or just lay there? I froze. The power in the apartment cut out. The room went dark. Then the smell hit me. Rot, damp earth, something burned and old. Not from the TV, from the hallway. I heard a noise outside my bedroom door. Slow, dragging, a sound like nails scraping against wood. I reached for my phone to turn on the flashlight, but my phone was gone. In its place, lying on my bed, was a pistol. Cold metal, heavy, real. The TV crackled back to life behind me, displaying a message I'd never seen before. Round 1. No respawns. That was when I realized something was wrong. I wasn't playing zombies anymore, and somehow, I had already spawned in. The pistol felt wrong in my hands. Too heavy, too real. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at it like it might disappear if I looked away long enough. My heart was beating so hard it hurt, each thump echoing in my ears. The room was dim now, lit only by the TV's pale glow and a sickly green light leaking in through the cracks around the door. The scraping sound came again. Closer. I swallowed and stood up, knees shaking. My legs felt weak, like I hadn't eaten in days, which honestly wasn't far from the truth. I pointed the gun at the door, my arms trembling. This isn't real, I whispered. I'm dreaming, or I finally snapped. The TV crackled behind me. Dempsey's voice came through again, clearer this time. Kid, I've seen crazy. Trust me. This ain't it. I spun around. The screen showed Narrated unto 10, but wrong. The walls were rotting, the textures too detailed, like someone had peeled the game open and stuffed reality inside it. Blood smeared the floor. Smoke drifted across the screen, slow and heavy. Then the screen went black. The scraping stopped. For half a second, I felt relief. Then the door handle twisted. It didn't burst open like in the movies. That would have been easier. It opened slowly, wood creaking as if whatever was on the other side was savoring it. A hand slipped through first. Gray skin, fingers bent at impossible angles, nails black and cracked. I backed up until my calves hit the bed. No. The thing stepped into the room. It was a person once. I could tell by the clothes, ripped jeans, a jacket like the ones kids at my school wore. Its jaw hung loose, teeth stained dark. Its eyes glowed faintly yellow, unfocused but locked on me anyway. I groaned. That sound flipped a switch inside me. Every thought vanished. No past, no future, just now. I raised the pistol and fired. The shot was deafening. The recoil slammed into my wrist, pain shooting up my arm. The bullet hit the zombie in the chest and did almost nothing. Staggered, then kept coming, arms reaching. Head, I gasped. Head, head. I fired again. The bullet took half its face off. The body dropped like a puppet with its strings cut. Silence flooded the room, broken only by my breathing. Ragged, uneven, almost sobbing. I stared at the corpse on my floor, bile rising in my throat. It didn't depawn. It didn't fade away. It just lay there, leaking something dark into the carpet. A metallic ching echoed in the room. Glowing numbers floated briefly in the air near the body. Plus 130. My stomach dropped. No, I whispered. No way. The front of my house creaked. Then another sound joined it. Another groan. Then another. From outside. From the hallway. From everywhere. The TV turned itself back on. This time, all four voices spoke. Dempsey, Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai. Overlapping, warped, but unmistakable. Welcome to the fight. This world eats the weak. Honor will not save you, but killing might. The screen flashed one final message. Survive to advance. Death is permanent. I looked down at my shaking hands, at the blood on my sleeves, at the door where shadows were already moving again. For the first time in a long while, I didn't want to die. Not yet. I checked the pistol. 6 bullets left. Outside, something slammed against the wall. Round 1 had just started. I didn't sleep. I don't think I could have even if I tried. The house felt smaller after the first kill, like the walls had leaned in, listening. I dragged furniture in front of the door the way I'd done 100 times in-game, couch first, then the dresser. My arms burned, lungs screaming, but fear kept me moving. Outside, fists thudded against the walls. Not hard enough to break through. Yet, I checked the windows. Boards I didn't remember nailing there were already in place, old and splintered, like they'd been waiting for me. Every time a zombie slammed into them, the wood creaked and dust fell from the frame. Just like zombies. Too much like it. I backed away and glanced at the TV again. The screen no longer showed a menu, just static and a small icon in the corner. Round 1 to 5 remaining. So there are rules, I muttered. That thought should have comforted me. Didn't. I waited, gun raised, until the noises stopped. When they did, it wasn't sudden. The groans faded one by one, like the world was counting down. Then silence. A sound chimed softly. Round complete. I slumped against the wall, sliding down until I was sitting on the floor. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the gun. I laughed once, short, sharp, and ugly. Of course my life turned into a game after I stopped caring if I won. Something changed in the air. The pressure eased, just a little, like the world had exhaled. The front door creaked open on its own. Beyond it wasn't my street. It was wrong. The sky outside had a greenish haze, clouds frozen in place like a painted backdrop. Houses lined the road, but they were copies. Same shape, same cracks, same broken fences repeating into the distance. Lamps flickered even though it wasn't night. I stepped outside. The moment my foot crossed the threshold, a cold shiver ran through me, deep in my bones. Words burned into my vision for half a second. Area unlocked. My heart skipped. No way, I whispered. This is actually happening. If this really was a zombie-style world, if I wasn't alone, then there were others. There had to be. Them. Dempsey, Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai. I didn't know why that mattered so much, but the idea hit me hard. Those characters had always been constants. No matter how bad the round got, they were there, fighting, talking, alive. If they existed here, then maybe this place wasn't just a punishment. Maybe it was a test. I followed the road until it opened into something familiar. A rundown facility at the edge of the neighborhood. barbed wire, watchtowers, a broken sign half buried in weeds. Restricted access, trespassers will be shot. My chest tightened. Nacked der unto 10, I breathed. The building looked exactly like it, but not like the game version. Bigger, older, real. The air around it felt heavy, like walking closer meant crossing a line I couldn't uncross. A laugh echoed from inside. Not a zombie. A man's voice, loud, rough, almost cheerful. Well, I'll be damned, it said. Either I'm drunk again, or the kid just walked into hell. I froze. That voice. I knew it. Every sleepless night, every lonely match, every time I needed noise to drown out my thoughts. Dempsey, I called, my voice cracking. Silence. Then footsteps. Boots on concrete. A shadow moved behind a broken doorway. And here I thought today couldn't get weirder, the voice replied. Kid, if you're real, don't move. A figure stepped into the light. Broad shoulders, military gear, scarred knuckles gripping a rifle like it was part of him. He looked older than in the game. Tired. Real in a way that scared me more than the zombies. Tank Dempsey stared at me, not like a character, like a soldier seeing something that shouldn't exist. You're not supposed to be here, he said quietly. Before I could answer, alarms wailed across the facility. The ground trembled. A new message burned across my vision. Round 2. Enemy count. Unknown. Dempsey swore. Kid, he said, chambering around. If you want to live, stick close. For the first time in my life, someone wanted me alive for the next round. Dempsey dragged me inside the facility before I could even ask what he meant. The doors slammed shut behind us just as something heavy crashed into the outer fence. The walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing the hallway in a dull red glow. He shoved me against the wall, rifle raised, eyes scanning every corner. All right, he said, voice low and sharp. Talk, now. I don't know how I got here, I stammered. I woke up in my house and… He cut me off with a raised fist. No, not how you got here. Why you look like that? I blinked. Like what? He stared at me for a long moment, jaw tight. Then he cursed under his breath. Figures, he muttered. Richtofan's gonna love this. Footsteps echoed from deeper inside the building. Light, deliberate. A slow clap followed. Oh, I already do, Tank. A man stepped out of the shadows, coat pristine despite the grime around us. Blonde hair slicked back, blue eyes sharp and amused, like he was watching an experiment finally produce interesting results. Richtofan, not cartoonish, not exaggerated, real. And who? He continued, smiling wider as he looked at me. Is our little anomaly? My chest tightened. Anomaly? Before I could process that, another voice spoke. Calm, steady, heavy with discipline. This child carries great suffering. A tall man stood near the stairs, katana resting at his side. Takeo's eyes never left me, but there was no hostility there, only understanding, too much of it. Behind him, a fourth man leaned against a railing, holding a bottle I was pretty sure shouldn't exist anymore. Nikolai took a long drink, then laughed softly. Ha! He looks how I felt before the war, he said. Empty, hungry, still breathing for no good reason. I felt exposed, like they could see straight through me. Dempsey finally spoke again. He's not supposed to be here because he didn't come in like the rest of us. My heart dropped. What does that mean? Richtofan circled me slowly, boots echoing on concrete. Everyone who ends up here, he said, tapping his temple, comes through the system. Experiments, soldiers, prisoners, broken people pushed through cracks in reality by force. He stopped in front of me, inches away. You, he said softly, were invited. The words hit harder than any zombie ever could. No, I whispered. That's not. I didn't want. Aha, Richtofan said, holding up a finger. Not invited by us. The alarms outside grew louder. Something screamed, Long, distorted, wrong. Takeo spoke again. This world senses despair, feeds on it. Those who wish to die are easy to pull. I felt sick. Dempsey looked away. You didn't force your way in, he said. You didn't get dragged through a portal or dropped into a battlefield. He looked back at me, eyes hard but not cruel. You spawned. The word echoed in my head. Spawned. Richtofen grinned. The system made you a player, not a pawn. Which means, Nikolai added quietly, if you die, you don't come back. A deep horn blared across the facility. Round 2 initiated. The walls outside began to crack. Dempsey slapped a fresh magazine into his rifle and shoved a pistol into my hand. Better than the last one. He met my eyes. Kid, he said, this place didn't pull you here to kill you. Richtofen's smile faded, just a little. It pulled you here to see what happens when someone who has nothing left is finally given a reason to fight. The first zombie burst through the outer door. Glowing eyes, faster than the last ones. Dempsey stepped forward, blocking me without hesitation. Stick close, he said again, louder this time. You're in the game now. And for the first time, surrounded by legends I'd only known as voices on a screen, I realized something terrifying. This world didn't bring me here by accident. It brought me here because it thought I'd survive. We were reloading behind a fallen concrete barrier when I finally asked it. You keep calling it rounds, I said. Spawns, points. Do you know this is a game? Dempsey paused mid-reload. For just a second. That alone was answer enough. Richtofen laughed first, of course. A soft, amused sound that didn't reach his eyes. Oh, we are aware of the patterns, he said. The repetition, the rules, the way reality resets itself around violence. He tapped the side of his head. But a game, he shook his head. No scoreboards, no players watching from a couch, no pause button. Takeo cut a zombie down with one clean strike before speaking. We know this world is false, he said, but false does not mean harmless. Nikolai wiped blood from his sleeve. If this is a game, he muttered, then it is one played by something that enjoys suffering. I swallowed. But you know about perks, mystery boxes, rounds. Dempsey finally looked at me fully. Kid, he said, we don't know them. He slammed his fist against a boarded window as it rattled. We remember them. That sent a chill down my spine. Richtofen nodded. Every time the world resets, pieces stay behind. Feelings, muscle memory, voices. His smile faded. We remember dying. The facility lights flickered. The walls groaned as if reacting to his words. Then why don't you try to leave? I asked. If you know it's fake, why keep playing? Dempsey stared at the oncoming horde. Because every time we stop, he said, the world punishes us. As if on cue, the air grew heavier. The zombies twitched, moving faster, more aggressively. Takeo's grip tightened on his blade. The system demands motion. Richtofen looked straight at me. But you, he said softly, are different. Because I spawned? I asked. No, he replied. Because you still believe this is a story with an ending. The ground shook. A new sound echoed through the map. Deep, mechanical. New mechanic unlocked. Text burned across my vision again. Something none of them could see. Will to live, unstable. Effect, unknown. My chest tightened. Dempsey noticed my reaction immediately. What did you see? I hesitated, then told them. Richtofen's eyes widened, not with fear, but awe. It is responding to you, he whispered. Nikolai went quiet. Takeo bowed his head slightly. Dempsey exhaled slowly. Kid, he said, voice rough. We know the rules. He raised his weapon as the horde closed in. But you might be the only one who can break them. And somewhere deep in the map, something listened. The moment the horde surged, I felt it. Not fear, pressure. Like hands closing around my chest from the inside, squeezing every doubt, every bad thought I'd ever had and forcing them to the surface. My vision blurred. Zombies poured through the breech doors faster than before, their movements sharper, almost angry. One vaulted over a railing, something I'd never seen in round 2. "That's new," Nikolai muttered, firing. Dempsey barked orders like muscle memory had taken over. "Tank on the stairs. Kid, stay behind me." But the pressure didn't stop. The words from earlier burned again in my head. "Will to live, unstable." I dropped to one knee, gasping. Richtofen noticed instantly. "Ah, there it is," he said, too calm. "The system is testing him." "Testing how?" I croaked. The answer came before anyone could respond. The zombies ignored Dempsey, ignored Takeo, ignored everyone. They turned toward me, all at once. "Oh, hell no," Dempsey growled, stepping in front of me and unloading his rifle. "You don't get to choose the kid." The bullets slowed them but didn't stop them. Takeo planted himself beside Dempsey, blade flashing. "This battle is not meant for him alone." Richtofen shouted something in German and slammed a switch on the wall. The room shook, lights blew out, and then silence. The zombies froze mid-step, every one of them. The air went cold, breath fogging in front of my face. A low hum filled the facility, like something vast waking up beneath us. Text burned into my vision again, brighter than before. "Error. Player resistance detected." "What is it doing now?" Dempsey demanded. Richtofen stared at me like I was a miracle and a disaster rolled into one. "It is asking a question," he said quietly. The world shifted. The frozen zombies shattered into ash, collapsing where they stood. The facility peeled away, walls stretching, folding, reassembling into a new area none of them recognized. Open space, a massive chamber beneath the map. Symbols carved into the floor. Wires. Machines older than war. Nikolai stared. "We have never been here." Takeo nodded. This place was hidden. A pedestal rose from the center of the room. On it, a perk machine, but not one I recognized. It was cracked, flickering, its lights unstable, cycling between red and blue. Words etched into the metal shifted as I looked at them. Finally, they settled. "Last stand." Richtofen inhaled sharply. "That machine does not exist." The voice came next. Not from the speakers, not from the walls, from everywhere. "Why do you resist?" My hands were shaking again, but this time I didn't back away. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I didn't come here to win. I didn't even come here to live." Dempsey glanced at me. "But now," the voice pressed. I swallowed. "Now I want to see what happens if I don't give up." The machine whirred. A bottle clinked into place. Perk acquired. Last stand. Effect. When health reaches 0, time slows instead of ending. Condition. Activates only if the user chooses to fight. The chamber trembled. Richtofen laughed, genuinely this time. "Oh, this is bad. Very bad." "For who?" I asked. "For whoever built this system," he said. "Because it was never designed for someone who can say no." The alarms returned louder, angrier. Round 3. Adaptive enemies enabled. Dempsey cracked his neck and grinned at me. "Looks like you just pissed off the game," he said. "Welcome to the team, kid." And for the first time, standing beneath a world that wanted me broken, I felt something solid inside me. Not hope, resolve. We were catching our breath in a safe room. Boards on the windows, a single bulb flickering overhead. Zombies clawed outside but didn't break through. Not yet. I leaned against the wall, chest burning. "You die," I said suddenly. "All of you." Dempsey looked at me sideways. "Yeah, kid, that's kind of the job." "No," I said. "I mean over and over. Same maps, same fights, same deaths." Richtofen stopped moving. "What do you remember?" he asked slowly. I swallowed. "Different places, different versions of you. Moon, origins, places that don't exist here, but feel real. And every time, it ends the same." Silence. Then Takeo spoke. "If this is true, Then we are prisoners of repetition. Nikolai's grip tightened on his gun. So what, kid? You gonna tell us how it ends? I shook my head. I think there's a way out. That got all their attention. In the games, I continued, there were always rumors, Easter eggs nobody fully understood, steps so insane no one thought they were real. Richtofan's eyes narrowed. You are suggesting this world has an endgame. I think, I said, you were never meant to win alone. Dempsey exhaled slowly. You saying we need you? I nodded. And I think, I added, the boss isn't a zombie. The first step wasn't killing. It was remembering. We found radios hidden in places that made no sense. Inside walls, buried under floorboards, frozen in concrete. When activated, they played distorted voices. Not screams, goodbyes. Soldiers talking about families. Scientists realizing what they'd done. People who never made it out. Each radio made the air heavier. The zombies outside grew louder, angrier, like they didn't want us listening. The loop doesn't want closure, Richtofan muttered. It wants noise. The second step was worse. We had to turn off the power. Not just electricity, everything keeping the map alive. Lights died. Perk machines shut down. The mystery box screamed as it vanished. No perks, no crutches, just us. You sure about this, kid? Dempsey asked as the world went darker. I nodded. If we play by its rules, it keeps us here. The ground split open near the old bunker. Something climbed out. Not a monster made of teeth and claws, but bodies. Zombies fused together, twisted into a massive shape. Faces half remembered. Soldiers, scientists, civilians. Every failed run. Every death that never meant anything. Nikolai stared. That's everyone who never escaped. The boss didn't roar. He spoke. Round will not end. Dempsey raised his gun. Yeah, watch us. The fight wasn't about damage, it was about coordination. Takeo shattered weak points with precision, and Nikolai kept it distracted. Dempsey drew its rage. And me? I did what no player ever did. I ran toward the core. Inside the thing was a door. A real one. I planted the final charge, built from parts scattered across maps that never should have connected. Kid, Dempsey yelled. You won't make it back. I looked at them. All of them. You were never supposed to die here, I said. I'll finish the round. The explosion didn't sound like thunder. It sounded like something exhaling for the first time in forever. The fused mass of bodies froze mid-movement, its surface cracking like old concrete. Faces, hundreds of them, flickered in and out, eyes clearing for just a second before turning to ash. The screaming stopped, not cut off, ended. The boss collapsed inward, folding on itself, shrinking until there was nothing left but a dark crater in the ground. Then the map began to fail. Lights flickered, then died. The sky above Nakdur unto 10 fractured, spiderweb cracks spreading through the clouds like broken glass. Gravity lurched. Loose debris floated upward, then fell, then floated again. Yeah, Dempsey muttered, steadying himself. This definitely ain't supposed to happen. Alarms wailed, old, distorted, repeating the same warning in a dozen dead languages. Perk machines sparked and collapsed into rust. The mystery box appeared one last time, lid twitching, before crumbling into dust. The round counter vanished. No chime, no score, just silence. A low wind swept through the facility, carrying something none of us had smelled here before. Fresh air. Near the old bunker, space itself began to fold. Not a portal like we'd seen before. No swirling colors, no lightning. Just a tear, widening slowly, revealing something impossible. A street, real pavement, real buildings. A sky that moved naturally, clouds drifting instead of looping. A car alarm wailed in the distance, sharp and alive. Nikolai stepped closer, eyes wide. That is not this world. Takeo removed his helmet, bowing his head. The path is open. Richtofan stared at the tear, expression unreadable. Fascinating, he whispered. A true exit, not a transition. An ending. Dempsey looked at me. You did it, kid. My hands were shaking again. Not from fear this time, but from the weight of it. I didn't beat it, I said. I just finished what was never meant to end. The ground beneath us groaned. Walls peeled away, revealing nothing behind them. Zombies, what few remained, stopped moving, their eyes dimming as they collapsed where they stood, finally still. One by one, the others stepped toward the tear. Nikolai paused, setting his bottle down gently on the ground. I think I will leave this behind. Takeo turned to me. Your suffering did not define you. Your choice did. Richtofen lingered the longest. You know, he said softly, in every cycle I thought knowledge was the key. Turns out it was courage. He smirked. How annoying. Then he stepped through. Dempsey stayed with me. The world around us was coming apart now. Chunks of reality drifting off like ash. The facility that had trapped him for lifetimes was finally dying. You sure you're ready? He asked. I looked back once. At the place where I'd learned how to survive, where death had been endless and meaningless. I don't belong here, I said. He grinned. Damn right. We stepped through together. The air on the other side was warm. Sunlight hit my face, real enough that my eyes watered. The sounds were overwhelming. Wind, distant traffic, people shouting somewhere far off. No groans, no alarms. I staggered, nearly collapsing. Dempsey caught me. Easy, he said. You're not respawning anymore. We stood there for a long moment, just breathing. Behind us, the tear closed, not violently, not dramatically, simply faded like a memory losing detail. Nacht der Unterten was gone. No map, no loop, no rounds left to play. I looked down at my hands. No blood, no HUD, no points ticking upward. Just scars. Proof. I didn't know what came next, but for the first time in my life, that didn't terrify me. The game was over, and we were finally free. The first sign something was wrong wasn't the zombies. It was the silence. Real silence. No round counter, no distant groans, no mechanical hum of a map waiting to reset. Just wind moving through trees and the distant sound of a city doing what cities do. Dempsey squinted at the skyline. Ha! No sirens. No explosions. I don't trust it. Richtofen had gone still. Not relaxed. Not curious. Still in the way a man gets when he recognizes a mistake too late. She followed us, he said quietly. My stomach dropped. Who? Before he could answer, a child's laugh echoed down the street. Not loud, not close, just present. Nikolai stiffened. No. That voice. A little girl stood at the far end of the road. Brown dress, blonde hair tied with a ribbon, hands folded politely in front of her. She didn't blink. She didn't smile. Samantha Maxey's. Takeo lowered his weapon. She is not human. Richtofen swallowed. Not anymore. Samantha didn't walk toward us. The world moved to her. Zombies were never a virus, Richtofen said, eyes locked on her. They were never an accident. He spoke fast now, like saying it quickly might lessen the damage. They come from the ether, a place outside reality. Element 115 doesn't just reanimate the dead. It weakens the walls between worlds. Dempsey clenched his fists. Meaning, Richtofen continued. When we escaped, we didn't just leave the loop. Samantha tilted her head. We punctured reality. The ground trembled. A manhole cover rattled violently, then exploded upward. A hand, gray, burned, unmistakable, gripped the edge of the street. A zombie pulled itself into the real world. Then another, then dozens. Samantha finally spoke. You broke my world, she said calmly. So I brought it with me. You controlled them, I said, realization hitting hard. In the maps, in the loops. She nodded. They were my toys, my soldiers, my punishment. For who? I asked. Her eyes flicked to Richtofen. For him, for all of you. But when the loop ended, Samantha continued, I had nowhere to go. She raised her hand. Every zombie froze. Where I go, she said softly. The ether follows. This world isn't special, she said. It's just next. Samantha Maxey's appeared, small and still, her eyes glowing faint blue. You broke my world, she said calm. So I brought it with me. From behind her, the sky shimmered. Zones from Nectar unto 10, Origins, Moon, they bled into reality. Zombies poured out in waves. Cars were crushed, streets tore open, chaos spreading. Samantha was never the biggest threat. The true force is behind the ether.